We hope that you've enjoyed your time here in Louisville. Coming from Oklahoma, I know the weather might be a little bit warmer this time of the year, although this country is also having some weird weather phenomenon going on right now. But hopefully we have a little bit of a warm up there. But we'll miss you, and I think that you got to enjoy some of the hospitality of our city and our state, and I hope that you've enjoyed that. And just as one of the party mementos that we wanted to give you along with your hands is something that we've got a new football coach here. And don't tell Bob Stoops, but Charlie Strawn has meant a lot to this community, and he's also active in social media. He followed your surgery on Twitter and got really interested. And he's all about having good hands. And so he has signed a football for you that we want to leave and present to you. So. Just a little bit
I just want to say that I'm happy to be here and at this stage, and I'm so thankful that Rich and Cindy kind of came into my life. I mean, I've had good relationships, obviously, with all the hand transplant patients that have gone through here, but I'll say, I don't know why. It's more than the miracle hand, but they've been special. They've gone through a lot, and I'm sure they're going to do well because of their attitudes and their beliefs. So I want to thank you for that. I never really, even when when the blood flow stopped, and I've always been very confident. I get an aura of confidence from you that spills over to me. So you've done just great. I'm not going to say too much more. Many of you in the room, those from Kleiner Coots and the hospital, know me well, but I would like to single out both the floor, the nurses on the floor, and the nurses in the operating room. But I'm really thankful to see so many of you here. I know you don't get a chance sometimes to follow as well, particularly the nurses that are working in the operating room, where they see the patient come in without a hand, they see the patient leave with a hand, they see 15, 17 hours worth of surgery, and then the nurses on the floor really get to know Rich and his wife. So I appreciate you coming, and I want to tell you, none of this is possible without all the integral parts. I mean, from the hospital to Kleiner Coots, my partners, but it's incredible how smoothly things run between the hand care center, the operating room, and the floor in terms of the quality of care. I think sometimes you kind of forget it. You know, it's running so smoothly that it seems normal. But I can tell you, coming back from the national meetings where people are trying to figure out how to replicate what goes on here, it's difficult. You've been part of building something which is unique, and I'm sure it's going to continue on forward. So I want to thank all of you especially very much. I'm not trying to leave out all the Kleiner Coots contingent, but I thank all of you guys every day, and I don't get a chance enough to tell the people in the hand care center on the floor how grateful I am for making this whole project successful.
I'll tell you, since my almost 5 years ago, I've been in a lot of hospitals and had a lot of different procedures done. I worked with a lot of professionals, nurses and doctors, and I've never, ever been in one hospital that every single person that I've worked with and met has been so kind and so caring and just at their very best. I can say that about every single one of you that I've met. Every single one of you, the whole program. And I had no idea that it would take this many people to do this for me. And I just say, thank you very much. You all, you've given me a lot. Thanks.
The other patients say that they felt like
Dr. Breidenbach, tell me a little bit about your takeaways and what you've learned in the last 4 months since Rich Edwards' double hand transplant.
Well, every time we do a transplant, which is still in its infancy, we learn something. Some of those things we can explain and some of them we can't. So I'm going to talk briefly about both. One of the things that we learned here that, let me see if I can explain what I mean by the word learn now. You think you've got everything lined up perfectly, and then all of a sudden a wrinkle comes that you didn't anticipate. So let me give you an example of one of the things we learned. We have always said that the length of the arm that we put on, particularly if you're putting on both sides, it's not terribly important whether you're a centimeter longer or shorter, right? I mean, if both hands measure the same, it seems good. How do you like wearing your sleeves like this? So Rich comes up to me and he goes, you know, my wardrobe's not going to fit because my arms are a centimeter or so longer on either side. Now, it's obvious. I wouldn't want someone putting 2 new hands on me and then getting rid of my wardrobe. I'd be happy I have new hands, but it would have taken minimal time. So we didn't have in our protocol to measure to the centimeter. We had in our protocol to measure that both are the same length, but not to the centimeter of what he was previously. So there's an example of something we learned that's going to change our protocols now. I want to give him new hands, but I don't want to wipe out his wardrobe. Then the second thing, now here's something that we still don't understand. As you know, we had difficulty on one side, and we had to, reestablish blood flow late and operate on him several times. But that's why I call that hand, which is the left hand actually, is the miracle hand. Did I get that wrong? Is it right or left hand? Anyway, I don't understand how he maintained blood flow in that hand because the 2 major arteries blocked off. Now, that's medically impossible. I've been speaking to my other colleagues around the country. There's got to be a reason. I haven't figured out how he did it yet. So those are the type of things with every single one of these that we learn. Dr. Edwards is not the first hand transplant in the world. He is the first bilateral that we've done here. But he's been first in many ways of teaching us some of these lessons. And every time we do one, we try to make sure we understand what those firsts are so we can improve and not relearn them again.
Here it is about a week before we get to go home. We got to meet a lot of people that I've never met before. I guess they saw me when I was under the sheets, out cold. And the end result is everybody here has been marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Just so kind and so loving and so caring. And it's been a good, blessed 4 months.
Yes, it has. Louisville's become sort of our home away from home. Because we really love Louisville. The people, the food, the activities, the city, the beautiful homes. I mean, goodness.
We have never been to a town where we visited or spent much time in that we've fallen in love with and said, we could actually live here. And both of us have said, we could live in this town. This is a cool town.
Rich, before you leave, show us a little bit about what you can do with your hands.
Yeah. You smack me is what you can do. Oh. Actually touch it. Can you feel?
No, I can't feel it, but I can at least
pretend.
Yeah, at least I've got hands to do it with. And they work so smooth. Don't have to push any buttons. And they blend in well. Get a little tan on this one. No one will ever know. It's the end of people questioning, what happened to your poor hands? Now they don't even question.
Thank you both.